Hey everyone. The types of bizarre realities that scapegoated children and adults live with is mind bending. One of my first videos and most popular videos on this new channel is on the bizarre realities that scapegoated adult survivors live with and have told me about. And I'm going to talk about another one of them today, sent in to me by one of our subscribers. So stick around. Welcome to my channel. This is Beyond Family Scapegoating Abuse, and I'm Rebecca Mandeville. I'm a licensed psychotherapist and a certified clinical trauma professional. So I want to read to you what one of our subscribers wrote to me and asked me to talk about, and some of you, unfortunately, might relate to it. And it's very thoughtful comment and request, so I'm just going to read it to you. My main scapegoater, very aggressive sibling, started saying it is me who has been mean and cruel to them. They began this after I started standing up for myself. It is incredibly difficult to get them to look at the fact that while this sibling is accepted by family, even though they start an argument at every family gathering, I am the one who is told I'm always causing trouble, that I'm too sensitive, etc., and I'm the one who has been excluded over the course of years, even decades, not invited, for example, to gatherings for siblings in the family. I only found out by accident about these gatherings. And then she ends with, "Thank you for shedding light on this topic. I thought it was all in my head, because I was told it's all in my head, except it's not. And you're right, it's not." So before I address this bizarre reality from one of our subscribers, I wanted to remind those of you who aren't yet subscribed, please consider doing so. And you can write your questions or requests in the comments of my videos, and I'm adding them to a list. And I will be releasing videos 1 to 2 times a week to address all of these really excellent questions and topics. And if you haven't yet liked the video, please do. This lets me know to make more videos like this, and it lets YouTube know to put these types of videos on other people's home screens who may need to hear this message. So how can it be when you may not be causing issues in your family, and someone else obviously is through their behavior that might be very narcissistic, or unkind, or inappropriate, or insensitive, cruel, sarcastic? They're not seen as being problematic within your family, but you are. This is really, really common, especially hearing things like when you're the scapegoat in your family, hearing things like you're too sensitive, as a subscriber mentioned, you're taking things too seriously, you're being dramatic, you misunderstood, you're bringing things up that no one wants to hear about or talk about. That's especially true if you're trying to bring up your feelings or harm you've experienced in the family, or you might feel dismissed or devalued. Definitely, those are uncomfortable things for a dysfunctional family member or narcissistic family member to hear about. And it can feel extremely confusing, frustrating, and appropriately angering when you're being viewed as the problem in the family, when there's obviously someone else whose behavior is far more problematic or should be. Well, remember, in a healthy, functional family system, that person's behavior would be viewed as problematic. But in a dysfunctional family system or narcissistic family system, it won't be. You have to remember that these families have their own set of rules. They're not spoken rules. These are unspoken, often unconscious rules that govern the family system. There's unspoken, unrecognized contracts that govern the family system. In a family that scapegoats, the unspoken rules are the scapegoated person's reality is not believable. Their feelings are not real. They're being dramatic, for example, and their perceptions are distorted and invalid when it's most often the case that the scapegoated person is seeing things most clearly. And if they're an empath, the empath child or adult child, they're feeling and experiencing accurate aspects of reality that's occurring in the family system. A story I like to share to illustrate what I'm talking about is the story of the Emperor Has No Clothes. And to summarize that story, a very wealthy emperor that took great pride in having the best types of clothing got swindled, and actually was told he had this amazing outfit on that was made for him, and he didn't. He had nothing on, and all the noble people went along with this delusion, this distorted reality, because the emperor believed he had this amazing outfit on, and no one could say otherwise. He controlled that system that he ruled over. And as he was on his way out and everyone's saying how wonderful he looks, and he's about to go out to a coach or carriage, a little child said, "But he doesn't have anything on." The scapegoated person in a family system that's dysfunctional or narcissistic is often like that little child. And in fact, as a family therapist, we know in family systems, when we're working with a family, it's often the youngest person in the family system, the youngest sibling, that we're going to get the real scoop from. I've gotten the real scoop in a playful, appropriate way using art therapy and such from 5-year-olds. I can find out exactly what's going on in a family, especially with sand tray therapy, art therapy, usually from the youngest person in the family. And that has been something we've known in family systems for half a century. This is not new information. Sadly, most people aren't familiar with family systems or family systems theory, but this is where we first started discussing specifically the family identified patient, family scapegoating. And I created the term family scapegoating abuse because this is a type of psycho-emotional abuse that's distinct from, but can be a part of, narcissistic abuse. So in response to this subscriber who's feeling, I would guess, confused, frustrated, maybe angry, sad, devalued, having the finger pointed at her when her behaviors are not inappropriate, would be seen as appropriate, valued, meaningful in a healthy, functional family system that's comfortable with feelings and being authentic and sharing the truth with each other. This isn't going to happen in a dysfunctional or narcissistic family. And I like to say that repeatedly because you really can't hear it enough. And this is why I talk about when I work in a coaching capacity with families, with scapegoated adults, that we're moving toward, in our work, toward radical acceptance. It's a term I borrowed from dialectical behavioral therapy. And it means accepting life as it is, accepting reality as it is, and making changes where we can, and accepting what we can't. Also mirroring the Serenity Prayer you might know from a 12-step program. Being aware and having the wisdom to be aware of what we can change and what we can't. And sadly, it's highly unlikely you're going to change your family's perception of you, no matter what you do in life, no matter who you become, no matter what successes you have. They will be discounted, devalued, sometimes openly undermined. I've seen that. And it will be very threatening to these types of families. In fact, if you do become successful, because you're supposed to be the family screw up, so to speak. And in such families, this is why the scapegoated person often will either slowly drift away as they get healthier, because it's so painful and uncomfortable to be cast in that role again and again and again with every family event or interaction, or they will flat out end contact because they don't want to deal with it anymore. They don't want to be a healthy, functioning, authentic person out in the world and then go back into that family system and feel like dirt, to feel like they're nothing. And not only nothing, but they're viewed in such twisted and distorted ways. It's like you couldn't take enough showers to wash all of that projection energy off of you, that negative projection of the shadow, the dark regions of the unconscious that family members in dysfunctional and narcissistic families are not interested in exploring. They're not interested in even considering the possibility that they may be psycho-emotionally abusing you via family scapegoating abuse. So I can only tell the subscriber it's a long journey on this road to radical acceptance, but it is possible, because I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of scapegoated people over the last 20 years. I've taught at the graduate level on this issue in family systems. It's where I did a great amount of research on what I eventually named family scapegoating abuse. And this is just very unlikely to change. So you're going to have to make decisions about where you're going to be, who you're comfortable interacting with, where you can be your true self, where you are being seen in such a distorted way that you may not want to spend your time in such environments. The time is precious. We only have a certain amount of it. So I hope that gives you all something to think about, but this is indeed a bizarre reality that scapegoated people live with. It's very familiar to them. It's very hard to explain to other people. And then you're seen as someone who doesn't want to mingle with family, care about your family. You don't want to be at family events. What's wrong with you? And that's just adding salt to the wound. If you got something out of this video, a friendly reminder, hit the thumbs up, tell other people about it, tell other people about my channel. And I appreciate everyone's support. We've been growing very fast, and I'm grateful because more and more people are learning about family scapegoating abuse and the clinical view that we as family therapists have of this particular family process and how you can recover from it. See you next time.